All right, well, welcome to the Nutty Fruit Hollow. Today we are going to fix the oil furnace. A couple of things that we've tried. It turns on, it shuts right off. It is getting oil. We checked that, and I hope there's not a leak because it's kind of wet right there, but I don't think it's a leak. We checked everything out and stuff, and it just, you push the reset button, it kicks on, you see a flame, the flame goes right back out, and then the next thing you know, it just shuts down. And you can keep doing that, and here you can actually watch it fire up. Well, I think it is this, and this is the transformer. You just unscrew two little bolts and it just swings around and it goes up. And this,
you have to unscrew that from that thing, from the swinging thing.
is your photo eye. And the photo eye, basically right in here, it senses light. And if it sees the light, it shuts off.
What are you doing?
I gotta take all this off.
No, you don't. You just unscrew those two screws from the top.
Well, I'm gonna take that off because I want to be able to show them the arc.
Still didn't need to take that off.
There we go. Alright, so I'm gonna show you how we tested this. You get a screwdriver. And what we're going to do is we're going to touch one and just get close to the other. You don't touch them both. You just get close to it. And it should arc across it. And you should see a nice blue arc going across. Now I should be able to go about a 1/4 inch, 1/8 inch away. 1/4 inch is perfect. And it should be able to arc at a 1/4 inch away. So I want to make sure that my screwdriver is a 1/4 inch away from this other piece. Right now the power is off, so we're going to go ahead and turn the power on. You want to hit the switch up there? And you can see it arcs pretty good. But it's not real strong of an arc. That arc should be actually blue, and as you can see, there's yellow in it. That should be blue all the way across there. And as I move further back, now it's not. Yeah, it should be all the way across. So we think the transformer's bad. Now, definitely do not put your hands in there, and make sure that you are far enough away. See, it shut off. Go ahead and shut me down. There's 20,000 volts going across this, and right now there isn't. There should be. So although it won't kill you, it will knock you on your butt. So you just definitely want to make sure that you keep your hand, you got your plastic or rubber handle on your screwdriver, and you keep your hand way in the back when you're doing this, so you're not accidentally touching anything. Before we touch anything, you need to make sure that it's shut off. So Darren has just hit the button to shut it off, and now there is no power. So the first thing we're going to have to do is we got to unscrew the reset.
Why are you doing that?
Because I got to disconnect the wires.
Why do you got to disconnect those wires? Oh, those other wires. Never mind. It's okay. She knows what she's doing in that.
I can't do this.
Sorry, I'm sitting there holding up, stepping.
No, it's okay. I'll do it. They just got this one really on there. Tight. Holy moly. Has it ever been off?
Why don't you just get your a socket to fix it?
Yeah. Let me just grab a socket here. Let's see. Too small. It's probably this smaller. Too big.
Where's the wrench?
I'll bet you it's this one because I've already used this one. There we go. And the ratchet. Where is the ratchet? Okay, so sorry guys. Let us do a little hunting for our tools here. I have no idea. What the heck happened to the ratchet? I don't know. You tell me. Stop it. Alright. So, got my tools. Unscrew this. Take this one out. Take this off. Just like that. And gotta unscrew these ones up here, and these look like they're a little bigger. They are. Slide this up. Alright, where we got? Probably this one. Nope, close. It's this one.
Light over here.
You're telling me. It's kind of hard to. It's still hard to get on. Alright, take that one off, take this off. Now you're probably wondering, I must have done this before, since I know what I'm doing. Truth is, never did this before in my life. So, if that answers your question. So, I'm kind of on a little bit of a learning curve here myself.
I think I said that's all you should have to do is unscrew.
Alright, so the best thing to do when in doubt, open up the new one. We kind of had a feeling this was it. See what I got here. Okay, it's just 2 screws and that's it. Alright, so trying to think if this holds it in any way. Doesn't seem like it. Okay, where's my screwdriver? Let's see if we could just pry it off. There we go. Pry it off. Okay, so what do we got? Wiring. We have the blue one going to here.
Yeah, it goes to the black. 'Cause I think the white goes to the white, it looks like.
Yeah. So we're going to unscrew our piece. Pull this out. Screw this back together. So we don't mess them up. Okay, so there's the blue. And the white. White is going to here. this one, this one, this one, plus the white one coming from the other one. And we're going to screw this all on there. Hold those together. Get the new one. Let's see.
There's a gasket in there that you need to put on, I think.
Yeah. Alright. Oh, nice long wires. Okay, we got a gasket. This is what it comes with. It comes with a gasket and came with the 2 springs for the ceramic pieces. Now,
that one didn't have it.
The gasket on this one, as you see, is a little different. So, this one should fit this though. Put that down around here, possibly. Maybe. No.
Through the middle of that.
It looks like it goes through the middle. So let's string these through here. Let's pull this all the way down. There we go. Now these are ceramic, so you need to really make sure that you don't bust these or crack them or anything, because if there's a crack in one of these ceramic, as the power is going through, it can ignite or spark or ground itself off of the side of this or something. So you just got to pay extra attention to these and make sure that you don't accidentally crack them or anything. And that looks like it is about it. Okay. Set this up in here. It's going to go just like that. So we're going to feed these in. We go right through this big hole here.
Get the camera in the right spot and might help.
When you're doing this, make sure you pull that photo eye. You just pull it straight out and pull it out of there. Because, first off, it's probably fairly expensive to replace. And second off, it's also very easy to get dirt on it or break it. So just make sure you don't.
The honest truth is, I think that's why you got more of an work than I did. I think I forgot to take the thing off there.
Yeah, you had to take the photo eye off. Okay, well they got these. There we go. I just want to make sure nice and lined up here. Does that look okay? That looks okay to me. Alright, let's screw this back in. Get one lined up here. There we go. Don't screw it down all the way because you're going to need to be able to turn the other side. Actually, pull this back out. the other side. I'm going to need that on this side. Alright, let's line them up. Get it in there. Once you get both of them in, go ahead and tighten it down. You want to make sure they're nice and tight. So you're probably wondering, okay, well, how did I know to check this? Well, like I said, we turned on the furnace. It was igniting. We were able to pull this down and saw that there was a flame, but the flame kept going on and then shutting off, and then going on and shutting off, and a whole bunch of smoke. So then we actually thought that maybe the chimney was clogged. We ended up checking the chimney. We went up on the roof, looked down in the chimney, make sure everything was good. And then I said, okay, well, maybe there's a filter on this, and maybe it's clogged. And we did take the filter off, and it was pretty bad. We thought that was the problem. When it came over here, we started it up, and lo and behold, it still did the exact same thing. So then I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe it's not getting enough oil. So I checked how much oil we have. There's 11 inches. We have 4 275 gallon tanks, and there's 11 inches in each one of those. So I went to my chart and stuff, and it says I still have approximately about 120 gallons. And I said, okay, well, that's not the problem either. So we ended up pulling off this front line right here. This is the fuel line, and we checked to see if it was spitting out fuel, and it was. So we knew we were getting enough fuel. We knew it was trying to ignite, so that meant that it's not lighting. So we ended up taking that apart. We cleaned the inside. We cleaned the port. Got it all cleaned up inside there. And I thought maybe that was it. Maybe it just wasn't spraying right or something. And it still did the exact same thing. So that only led to one conclusion, that it wasn't igniting and something was wrong with the ignition. So that ended up being the transformer. This is electronic oil burner igniter, or you can call it the transformer. This is what actually puts the juice out. And those two things will hit the two rods, and these two rods is what goes out. And they got little pins that go together, and they will arc between themselves. And that's what ignites the fuel. So while we're in here, we're going to check our fan. If you want to get down in here, you see our fan right there. You're going to want to just double check it. It's not going to just go freely, because, you know, it is hooked up to the pump. So the pump has some drag on it. But you should be able to easily move this in either direction. It should very easily move, just like that. If it easily moves, then you know your fan's good. So I think that was our problem. I'm going to go ahead and hook up our wires, and we're going to give it a test. Let's get these out of the way here. White wire to the white and yellow. We'll put all those together. Get our nut. You're going to want to make sure that you got this on tight. So screw that nut on until it won't go on anymore. There we go. It's on nice and tight. Then we got our blue wire. There's our ground wire. The ground wire is going to go to our black. What?
Did you put it through the holes over there?
Oh, shoot. I did not. Yeah, that would help, huh? Got to go through here first. Alright. Now let's put it on. Okay. So we put on our black. Again, power's off. You do not turn the power on until everything is all put back together again. You don't want to take any chances. And again, you screw these nuts on until they will not screw on anymore. Finger tight. I mean, you don't have to like go nuts on it or anything like that. Finger tight is good. And we'll unscrew this one. I'll take this off. We'll go through here. I'll bring this back up. See, that's what Darren's for. To make sure it goes through the same path it was before. There's just a lot of wire. And just straighten these all out again. Look at that. It's just twist that together so it's nice and straight. It's just a lot of wire. You just got to get them all together. When you get them all together, lined up with one another.
I don't think I can see that because of that light.
A lot of wires. So you're going to get all of them. You want to make sure that all of them are lined up. Get all of the insulation lined up with one another. And once all the insulation is lined up with one another, you kind of like get them all nice together, just like that. And bring this one down a little bit, you know, and then just give it a good twist. All of them together. And you twist your cap back on again, nice and tight. There we go. Pull on them if you want to make sure that they're nice and tight. And we are good to go. So. Huh?
It's a lot of extra wire.
Yeah, I know. That's okay. Got a big enough box here, it'll hold it all. Okay, throw all this wire in here. There we go. See? Just like so. Bring this up, push all this wire down in there, make sure we're not going to accidentally sit on any wire, just like that. Alright, get our bolts in, our screws, and I got to change out gone. It's not tight, it's not all the way on. It's not tight yet. I'm going to get this one going. Darn thing flipped on me. Alright, so before I tighten them down, I just want to double check here, make sure there ain't no wires up underneath. And I'm going to be able to sit all the way down, and I will. Go ahead and tighten this one up. Alright, so you're probably wondering, what's the red button for? The red button is your reset. If you have an oil furnace, there's a reset button on it. That's this. And you don't push this, you know, if it shuts down by itself and you want to get it started and see what's going on, you hit the button. It'll kick it back on. And it'll kick on and you can see what's going on. it'll try and ignite. And if it can't ignite, it's going to shut down again. Don't push this too many times. If it's not going to light, you know, push it once so you can see what's going on. You know, you can push it a second time, see what's going on. But you got to understand, every time you push that button, it's not lighting. It's still squirting oil into the chamber. So that chamber for us right now is extremely full. We've probably hit it probably 4 or 5 times, huh? Most likely. Here, you see the photo eye. I'm going to go ahead and clean this up. Let me see if I can just use my shirt. It's not like per se dirty, so I mean, don't worry about using your shirt. You ain't going to get it. It's not greasy or anything like that. It's just a little bit of, there's a piece of glass in there. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that?
Yeah.
There's a little piece of glass in there. You just want to make sure that piece of glass is nice and clean. That is the photo eye. It senses light. All right, so we're going to stick this back in here. Pop that in. There we go. We got to put on our 2 coils.
You got screwed on there, I think.
Yeah, you do, but I'm just trying to. There we go. There's one. Let me get the other one on, and this should be it. And we could give it a try.
Put your piece of rubber back on your photo eye.
Yep. Okay, so before you go and close stuff up, you know, up here on top, I've been keeping everything that I've been using. All the nuts, bolts, things like that. Just make sure everything is off of there. You know, it's a good idea to always keep things all together. And that way you don't end up putting everything all back together and say, oh, I got extra parts here. Be good to just, I probably didn't have to take that off, but that's all right. Good. So the way this works is that this ignites, and this looks for light. If it sees light, then it shuts the arc off. But the arc has to be hot enough to be able to light and ignite the fuel that will stay lit. And our problem was it wasn't enough to actually ignite oil. I don't know if anybody has an oil furnace, but if I actually have some oil on the ground and I put a lighter or a match to it, it doesn't light. It needs a higher flame, a hotter flame.
Thing back here before you go to close it.
What's that?
Just that little clip.
Yeah, I know. Those will help. I'm just going to make sure that these are nicely tucked down in there. I'm also going to watch as I'm closing that they're nicely tucked into there. I don't want them to accidentally be out. These, pretty easy. You just swing them around, just like so, just like so, and we tighten it down. Give me a screwdriver. Let's tighten this down. There's that. There it is. All right. I think we're good to go. Everything's good. Let's give her a try. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Still nothing. It's just flowing. Nothing. All right. Well, I am here, just came after work. We're gonna go downstairs and we need to finish fixing the furnace. Darren couldn't remember how to, there's some light, put together the pieces. So I am here to put it together. So we did need a new transformer, but we ended up also needing a new nozzle, which is the nozzle that sprays the oil. A transformer, just give you guys cost-wise what it costs. The transformer was $47. That's this. New nozzle was $5.97. I need to just double check, make sure that this sucker's off. I don't want to be putting my hands in there if I don't have it off. Alright. Let's take this off. And when you disconnect this, this is the supply line. It almost feels like maybe he stripped it. Shouldn't be this hard to remove. There we go. And don't ever bend this. When you're pulling this, don't ever bend it. Come down here. You're going to want to loosen this one up. Just loosen it. One turn. It allows this to pull out of the way. There we go. Now let's take the thumb nut off. This is a thumb nut that just holds this little bar in there. And I wonder if he had the thumb nut on right. We'll find out here in a minute. Yeah. Okay. So now, all of this alright, I wasn't able to get it out. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to remove the whole motor. Just drop the whole thing down. I'm going to take a guess. He didn't have it right to begin with, and that's probably what he ended up doing. So there's 4 nuts you gotta unscrew. Ain't gonna get to that one. Probably not gonna get to that one either. fact, I know that's what he did. Because lo and behold, the one the wrench that fits this happens to be sitting right on top of the furnace. So I know for a fact he had absolutely no idea what he was doing. He should have just left it alone. If he couldn't get it in, just waited for me. So now it's wedged in there. It shouldn't be. Alright. Okay, take this off. You can see there's a slot. Basically, you turn the whole entire thing and then pull it out. So that's what I'm going to do. Put that down. Grab hold of the whole thing. Give it a turn. And the whole thing comes out. Like, that's really going to do me a lot of good. But who knows? Maybe it was hanging up in there or something. You gotta watch what you do, because you don't want to bend these. You bend those and you just cost yourself a lot of money. There it is. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, let me give you straight up and down. Look at this. And you can see that's not right. So that's what he was telling me. He called me and said, how does this go and where does it go and how's it supposed to turn? And so let's loosen this up. Of course. Let's use this is what tightens them. Don't take it all the way off. I'm just going to take it off a little bit. See how I can easily loosen it. Now, you want these to be in line up front. Okay. So I'm just using this to make sure that they're in line with each other. They want to be turned towards each other. And you want them approximately about 1/8 inch apart from each other. So, and they should be fairly in line. So, I'm going to tighten up just a little bit. That way when I put them in position, they'll stay. And I got these right like so. And this one's actually off a little bit, but we could probably make it work still. And that arc, so the transformer, those 2 springs that we had put on, they sit on top of these. And when they sit on top of these, it pushes the power through here. And what it's going to happen is that there'll be an arc that goes across these. So that's why it's important where this arc is. You don't want it touching the nozzle because it'll short out on the nozzle. So you want it just above the nozzle, and you want them to be about 1/8 of an inch away from each other, and approximately about 1/8 in front of the nozzle. So that kind of like gives you an idea what we got. So might want to bring that up just a tiny bit. So that looks like it's a good position. Remember, you don't want them touching the nozzle. I don't want them shorting out on the nozzle. I'm going to tighten this down a little bit more. Check my position. Make sure I'm still okay. Oops. There we go. So this little thing here, this little nut thing, this is actually the nozzle. There's a little spray nozzle in there. There's a filter on the other end. This portion is not part of it. So what you do to take this off is you put a wrench on this part, and you put a wrench on this part, and you turn just this part. You don't want to be holding on to these ceramic pieces while you're trying to take this off, because you can crack a ceramic piece. Again, extremely important, you do not crack the ceramic piece. And don't always think that you're going to have this and this in line with each other, because that's not true. As you can see, you know, this one has been taken off a little bit. So we just need to make sure that it's an 1/8 inch above it, and they're 1/8 inch apart. So now I'm just trying to make sure that these are tight. This is tight. There we go. That should be okay. This is probably a metric, that's why it's hanging on me. That's okay, I can make it work. There. So as you can see, they're 1/8 inch apart. Look straight down, about 1/8 inch up above it. They are not touching the nozzle. You don't want it shortened on the nozzle. Alright. All of this just to get that tight and put it on. Okay. Now there's a way to put this in, by the way. You see these? You're going to want to go in this way, and then it turns into position. That's why I couldn't get it out of there. There we go. Now it's in. You're going to want to turn it into position. And then pop that out. And that is it. I'm going to go ahead and put this, pull it back up, put it in. Make sure all 4 are on. Well, that's just weird. I thought I heard somebody coming down the steps. Give me the peepee Carlies. Alright. Let's tighten this all back up now. We'll tighten this back up. use a socket, but stud comes out too far. Socket can't get around it. Alright. Double check this one. And now I can use a socket for these. Switch that the right way. Trying my hardest not to get dirty. Got my work clothes on. But I'm sure it will. Never fails. I'm one of those ones you can't dress up because I'll get dirty. Alright. Now, finish putting this in. There we go. In position, put the thumb nut on it. Now some thumb nuts have a flat side and then they have a concave side, and the concave side is always on the outside. The flat side is against this. This one, I probably had one at one time, but probably got lost. Over the years, the other owner probably was messing with it, or even had it serviced and the service guy lost it, or you just put this on or something to that effect. Okay, you're going to want to make sure this is nice and tight. Get my wrench on it. I got another bolt sitting out there. Alright. Now, since we loosened this, it should be easily just turn right up. First one you want to tighten is this one. Don't tighten that one until this one's on. You also want to make sure that you're on it straight on. There we go. You should be able to hand turn it part way so you know you're not stripping it. I don't know how much you're going to learn if this is something. If you're afraid to work with this stuff, you know, by all means, call a furnace guy out. Any furnace guy, any heating and cooling guy knows how to work on oil furnaces. They're probably the easiest to work on. Again, don't ever worry about, you know, the oil. You know, you can put a match to it. It won't catch on fire. It needs high heat to catch. And once it catches, it'll go. But a match or a lighter is not hot enough to ignite it. That's why you need a transformer. Alright. I just want to double check, make sure we got everything. Looks good. That looks good. That's all tight. Don't be afraid to just take it a minute and just make sure. Alright, let's go ahead and close the transformer. And this should be it. If this isn't it, then I don't know how to fix it. I don't know what's wrong with it. The pump's pumping. Everything's going. I'm just going to double check. So, make sure that we got it all. Make sure that's tight. Okay. I think that's it. Let's give her a try. Flip the switch. Moment of truth. Hit the reset button. Hold it. Let go. Nothing. There we go. See in there? See? Or there we go. Now you're probably wondering why there's so much smoke. You gotta remember, every time we hit that thing, it threw out oil. That's why I tell you not to hit that thing more than just a couple times and then see what's wrong with it. You don't want to keep hitting it. So there is a lot of oil built up in there and it's burning off right now. We don't want to open that. We want to just let it go. Let it go up the chimney. The fan just clicked on. I'm going to hang that down here just to make sure that we're good for a little while. There's no fire or anything. Well, there is fire inside, but you know what I mean. That's going to do that for a little while. Probably going to take a good 10 minutes to burn off. So while that's burning off, let me give you a little tour. Oh my. That's really kicking out. Alright, I'm just going to end up having to watch this a little bit. That's going up to the chimney. It's smoking out there as well. Looks like it's starting to dissipate and slow down. I don't want to go walking away just yet. Yeah, it looks like it's starting to go away. I'm going to come over here and look at this. Still a little bit, not real bad. I just need to watch it a little bit here. Oh, there's a lot of oil in there. It probably got hit 6-7 times. So this is just going to be a little while. It is putting heat out though. I got a vent in here. It's putting heat out. Blower is on. Alright, let's go ahead and go in here. The basement is set up a couple different ways. First one is we have this room. I'll just kind of give you an idea of what we got. So, this is the basement door. I'm going to just be standing in front of the basement door the whole time. This is the wall in which is sinking. So we already have concrete coming and cutting it. We got holes dug, so there will be a column there. There will be a column there. We got to finish pulling that out. We're going to fix a little bit of the piping. That's not going to be a column, but all the way over there in that corner there'll be another column. Right here, these orange boards, that's our LVL. That's the beam that's going to go up. It's going to be 3 thick, so as thick as you see it right there, that's how thick it is. And we're going to be nailing all those together. And there's special instructions on how to nail that together. But there's a window in which we kind of closed that off. You can see when we first bought the place, all of that was wide open to the outside, and we're now able to see more outside, so it has sunk a little bit more. But to give you an idea why, that is the original foundation on the bottom. It's stone, and then they have brick, and then they put block. Yeah, don't ever use brick for a foundation. It is not a structural member. So what we found is that the bottom of this wall is all brick, and that's what the block are sitting on. So what happened is, as water was outside, it has disintegrated the brick, and the brick is basically, it's not there anymore. It's pretty much gone. So, and that's what's causing the whole wall to sink. There used to be a shower there. It's not hooked up anymore. All the plumbing's come out. The drain lines, we're going to go ahead and keep as much of those as we can, but all new plumbing. It used to have copper. All the copper's been cut. We now have been running PVC throughout the whole entire thing. So back over to here. So that's our window, hot water tank. We're going to have to replace that. You can see that we put up some supports. Again, this is to hold the joists and stuff. As we start jacking it up, these will remain. These will never come out. So those will remain. And we stuck them as far close to the wall as we possibly can. We're going to try and maybe move it over a little bit more. But the wall, the original concrete or the original stone foundation, is not like straight up and down. It actually comes out. So we had to pull it out some. But that is the original stone foundation. It's actually in really good shape. It's actually better built than anything else in this house. This is the chimney in which they capped off top. That's the door to the outside. They had it running, something was running there. It looked like a furnace or maybe a hot water tank or something. Might have been a coal furnace for all I know. We have oil tanks back in here. And before I leave here, let's see, that's where hot water tank. We had to get a new pump. That is not the bladder, that was the original bladder. We had to buy a new bladder. So the new bladder didn't have a stand on top for the pump. So the old bladder is just being used as a stand for the new pump. So the new bladder is no good. I'm going to go ahead and shut these lights off as I go. I'm going to go ahead and check out, make sure that we're okay over here. There's a doorway. This is the original outside door before the add-on. There's our oil tanks. There's 4 of them. They're all linked together with piping throughout the bottom, and you could turn on and off each one as necessary. The stone foundation, I was going to tell you, is extremely thick. So the stone foundation starts right about right here, and it goes all the way to there. It is approximately about almost 2 feet wide. On this side, this is the original basement now. Underneath the stairs here, we have all the lath that we're using for kindling. All those boxes are all lath. Everything here is lath. So that's all of our kindling. We have over here in this little room on the other side, that's all the paneling that was pulled out of the kitchen and the dining room. We're going to try and see if there's somewhere that we can reuse. We won't be using it upstairs, but somewhere down here we might actually use it down here to build up some walls or something. The same thing there. These are some extra cabinets that we found that were free. It was given to me, so we're going to try and utilize that somewhere. Some more paneling. There's a lot of paneling. We have 3 little windows. They're like this, with this Anderson windows, brand new. You know, I got them at the Habitat for Humanity Restore, and we are going to use those to replace the basement windows down here. And that one was so bad, we just had the window's still there, but it's not in good shape. So we just threw some insulation and a board over it to keep the cold out for now. But this is going to be my canning room. We are going to close off the stairs right here. That's why we're probably going to use some of this paneling for. And I'm going to try and use this room as a cold room. For all my canning jars and stuff, we're going to throw in a bunch of shelving. We got a ton of shelving right now in our place where we're still at. We're going to be bringing it over with us and installing it here, so it'll be all my canning stuff. Stairs, and then over here is our furnace area. So we have furnace, and it finally quit smoking, so it's doing good now. That's the new 200 amp breaker box we had installed. Some new wiring put in down here. This, you're probably wondering, why is there a pipe sticking out, so on and so forth, right here. The house came also with a wood burning stove, so that's actually what that is, or a wood burning furnace, and it is actually hooked up to the oil furnace. So you use the oil furnace fan, and you can put wood in here, and once it gets hot enough, the fan will kick on. And as you can see, we're good now. No more smoke. We're going to look inside. Looks really good now. There you go. The new transformer, new nozzle, $47 for the transformer, $5.97 for the nozzle, so $55. We got our furnace fixed. Now I told you and there we go. So it just shut down. It came up to temperature. We sat there and had our furnace cleaned and checked out before winter time, right after we purchased the place, and that costed $215 for the guy to install a thermostat and to clean. That is it. So it gives you an idea. Around here, HVAC is really expensive. It's cheaper if you can just find your own parts and do it yourself. Don't be afraid to just dive in. go find some YouTube videos. I mean, I have this one for an oil furnace. There's tons of them out there. Don't be afraid to give it a try. Worst case scenario, you got to call the guy out and he'll put it back together anyways. All right. Well, thank you for subscribing, and thank you for watching. And I hope you guys, I hope this was a little bit educational for you. And I am tuning out from the Nutty Fruit Hollow. I wish you all a good night and take care. God bless.